Hey guys, and welcome to another Escape Wheel watch review. Today we're looking at the Bliger GMT homage. So this is an homage to the Rolex GMT Master 2. This colorway obviously doesn't exist in the Rolex catalog, but you can get this in pretty much any way you can imagine. So I say just go check out the Bliger store and kind of configure it however you want. I mean, they do it in Pepsi and Batman and root beer. They also do it in, black, white, red, green, blue, pretty much any insert you want as well. So lots of cool different combinations. So if you don't like this one, you can pick and choose which you want. I went with this one simply because I'm a huge fan of the Explorer 2, and I wanted something as close to an Explorer 2 40 millimeter as I could get. And unfortunately, this one just falls a little short, but we'll kind of touch base on all that and throughout this review. But you can pick this up on the Bliger official store. I believe the price is like $85 normally, so I wouldn't pay any more than that. Currently it's on sale for $73 for the next couple days, so I wouldn't pay more than 83 bucks. And I think for 83 bucks you're getting a lot of money, or you're getting a lot of good specs for the money. So you are getting a 316L stainless steel case and bracelet, despite the listings showing 904L. It's not 904L, it is 316L. Stainless steel case and bracelet, milled clasp. You do have the gliding system on the bracelet. I'm not going to say the trademark word. You do have a screw down crown. I believe these are only good to 30 meters, but I can assure you they'll survive better than that. They do have all the gaskets. I think that's just kind of to cover them as far as water resistance goes. You should be able to take these things swimming. So you also get sapphire crystal and then an automatic GMT movement. So I think we should just jump right in. We'll start off with the dimensions. So like most GMT or Submariner style cases, this one is pretty much right at 40 millimeters. You got 13.5 millimeters thick. You got a 20 millimeter lug width. The lug to lug is 48.0. And then with those male protruding links, you got 52.4. So it's your typical size when you're looking at a Submariner homage or a GMT Master 2 homage. It's the 40 by 20 by 13-ish. And it's pretty flat on the case sides here, and it wears just like in a Submariner homage. So I'm going to go outside right now, throw it on a couple fun straps for you guys, and we'll get back to the review. So here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist, and no surprise, it wears just like every other Sub or Master 2 homage. So you kind of know what to expect on it. Clasp is a little big, but still comfortable, and you can see it sits flat. There's not much curvature to it, which is kind of expected with these sub cases. So I think if you've worn one before, you're not going to be surprised with how this one wears. I'm get it into some sunlight here, and there you can see in the sunlight still plenty of contrast with those indices. No anti-reflective coating, so as you can see right there, it's pretty much unreadable. So no anti-reflective coating is kind of a big deal here. But yeah, I think otherwise it looks pretty good. You get a lot of light play off of that bezel, and yeah, looks pretty good. Let's go throw it on a few straps and we'll get back to the review. And here it is, kind of a fitted rubber bee style strap. I think it looks pretty good. This is what I've been wearing it on mostly. Yeah, looks pretty good, I think. So here we are on an orange rubber strap from Clockwork Synergy. And I completely forgot that I had this strap, but I may have just found the strap that keeps this watch in my collection. So, yeah, I think it looks pretty awesome on this orange strap with the orange GMT text and the orange hand. I think it really just kind of pops. I really like it. I'm going to throw down one other kind of fun strap. We'll see if it works. And here we are on a white Tropic strap, which I think actually looks pretty good on it. Not quite as good as the that orange one that was just on it, but yeah, just something a little different, something I normally don't wear. But yeah, I think it works pretty good. This would be a fun little summer watch, I think. So let's go back inside and we'll get back to this review. All right, let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. Not really surprised here. You do have a brushed finish on the top of the lugs. It's pretty nicely done, actually. You do have polished crown guards, a unsigned polished crown. I have seen these with signed crowns, so I'm not sure why I got an unsigned one, but this one has an unsigned crown. You've got polished sides to the case, and then nothing on this side here. And everything is done okay. I think the brushing is done pretty nicely. I've got no real complaints with the brushing on it. It's nice and linear, and pretty nicely done. All the transitions to the polished surfaces are also nicely done. I've got no problems with that. My big problem is with the actual polishing on the case. It's just not great. You can kind of see a little bit of waviness here to the reflections, and that's kind of what you see on all the polished surfaces on this case. They're just not. I mean, it's not even up to Pagani standards, so I'm pretty disappointed in the case polishing on this thing. So this is a comparison between the Chronos, which I know it's not a fair comparison, but and this Bliger on the right. So you can see right here, you can pretty much see my face pretty good in the reflection there, and on the Bliger it's just a big blurry mess. So that's just kind of what you're getting on the case finishing here. So not too happy with the case finishing. It's not horrible, and you really only notice it when you're looking really, really thoroughly at it. So just keep that in mind. The case back on this, it's a simple case back. It's brushed and polished surfaces. The underside of the lugs have a circular brushing. No real surprises, no signature or anything like that. It's got the Rolex style case back, which I'm not a fan of, but it's on pretty much everything. Let's talk about the bezel on this thing. So this is a 90 click bezel. So there should be, I forget how many clicks it is, between 7 clicks or something. So there's 7 clicks. So it's not a 120 click bezel, and it's not a 60 click bezel. The action is decent. It's nice and smooth. Nice loud audible clicks, but there is some back play to it. So you can see right here, it's just kind of rocking on its own. There's no play up and down, and you can press on the bezel and it's not bouncing at all. So it's not a bad bezel. It's just not great. And with the alignment, I guess it's okay. It's pretty hard to check with this one, just since there's not a lume pip there or a triangle. It seems okay to me on this version, so take that for what it is. And the bezel is pretty nicely done, I think, machined-wise. You've got a brushed finish on the outer side and then a polished top end. And yeah, I think there's plenty of grip. I've got no real problems with it. There's just that little bit of back play right here. That's it. Once it locks into place, though, it's pretty solid. It's not rocking back at all or anything like that. So overall, it's a decent bezel. The crystal on this one, it's a flat piece of sapphire crystal. It does stick up just ever so slightly above that bezel, but not much. There's no anti-reflective coating on it, which becomes a little bit of a problem. You probably saw that in the wrist shots there. You do have a Cyclops here at the 3 o'clock. It does magnify the date nicely. It might be just a little bit off center. I can't. Sometimes I think it's perfect. Sometimes I think it's a little crooked or off center. So yeah, it's not a huge deal. The dial on this version, we have a glossy white dial, and then you've got glossy black hands, a beautiful orange tipped GMT hand. You got the Bliger in black there, and then you've got a orange GMT and automatic at the 6 o'clock position. You've got a black printed minute track all the way around. The minutes at the 5 o'clock indexes are just a little bit thicker, as you can see here. It's a nice little detail. All the printing is done excellent. I've got no problems with the printing on it. I think the hands are sized perfectly for this dial. And yeah, it looks really, really good. The indices themselves, it's kind of weird. So I bought this one specifically for the black indices, and not many companies do the white dials and the black indices. So when I saw this thing pop up on AliExpress, I just had to get it and check it out. And you can see here, we'll zoom way in. It's really hard to tell. They are darker, but you can see they're glossy, so they kind of look silver in some lights, and it almost looks like the bottom of the the indice is, your typical polished or chromed bit, and then it's just like the top rim of each index is black. So kind of an odd choice, I think. I wish they would just do all black and it would kind of stick out a little bit more. But overall, it does look pretty good. And I think it's a lot better than having just straight polished indices. And speaking of the indices and the hands, they are all lumed. You have green lume on the hands and blue lume on the indices. And you can see here against the Chronos on the left and a phylida on the right-hand side, the lume it's okay. The hands definitely hang on longer than the indices do. And the blue lume, it's a dark blue lume that you see on Pagani, older Paganis, and it's not great. I'm just not happy with the lume on this thing, but it's kind of what I expected at this price point. So let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown, which is nice to see. The screw in and screw out action, it's a little tough, a little gritty. I'm not really happy with it. You do get a nice satisfying pop out when it disengages from the threads. You pull it out to the first position and roll it clockwise, and that advances the date. You roll it counterclockwise, and that advances the GMT hand, and that's an independent GMT hand. And you'll notice, watch the GMT hand when I press this in, it's going to jump a little bit. See how it jumps forward? So I'm just giving you a little tip here. Set it to whatever time you want, and then just give this crown a little bit of a roll back, just a little bit, and depress it, and it doesn't jump. So there's your tip for the day. This is typical with this movement. This is the Mingzhu or DG3804B. You can find it in the Parnis, the Bligers, the phylidas, and also the Pagani. So they all use the same movement. I know Pagani calls it the Pearl or whatever, but it's the same movement. But I've had this in quite a few watches, and really I have no problems with them. They've been very accurate. I've never had one break on me, except when I tried to remove the stem. They're pretty fragile when you remove the stem, so just be careful if you ever need to do that. But otherwise, I think they're fine movements. You get 6 ticks per second of that second hand. It does hack. It does hand wind. You can see third position is hand wind or hacking there. I've really over the years I've had quite a few of these, and I have no problems with them. So they're a fine movement as long as you don't have to drop them from the case. They're really not bad movements. Screwing it in, like I mentioned earlier, it is a little bit stiff and hard to do, so they could work on that just a little bit. Let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. So like I mentioned earlier, it is a 20 millimeter lug width. It does taper down to 16 at the clasp. It's a solid 3-link oyster. You have brushed tops and polished sides. You have male protruding end links. The end link fitment to the case, nice and solid. No problems. They are solid end links, as you can see there. You've got screw pins for adjusting. I had to remove 3 links for my 7.5 inch wrist, so this should fit up to an 8 inch wrist pretty easily. The clasp on this, it's done really nicely. It's a brush top, polished sides. You do have a nice little Bliger signature there. Little fold over safety. Open it up, you got the Bliger text on the inside, and then automatic AT1368, which I'm guessing is a model number. I don't really know. But yeah, everything is pretty nicely done. You do have a little bit of sharp edges on the bottom here, but personally it doesn't bother my wrist. But I know some people get bothered by that. Everything works as it should. And like I mentioned earlier, it does have this kind of gliding adjustment system on the bottom. You just pull out this, and then you can adjust this bracelet size on the fly up to about half an inch, I'd say, maybe a little bit more. The adjustment is a little bit sticky. It does stick a little bit, as you can kind of hear it. It's not super smooth. That might loosen up over time. You can see it's a little bit crooked in here, so maybe that has something to do with it. I haven't really played with it too much, but when you do snap it down, it snaps right into place, and you got no problems with it really. It works as it should. And like I mentioned on some of my other reviews, the integration into the case I think is done really well. They've got, the curvature of the case matches the curvature of the lugs, and yeah, I've got no real problems with it. The bracelet, I think, is pretty good. So what about any quality control issues? Do I have any? This thing arrives pretty good. I think maybe the Cyclops is a little bit off, and I've got a little bit of adjustment problems, like I mentioned, with the clasp. It's a little crooked, but it does work. It's just not as smooth as it could be, I guess. But yeah, other than that, I'm really happy with the way this thing arrived. So there you have it. That's the Bliger GMT. And like I mentioned earlier, this thing comes in like 100 different combinations. So pick and choose which one you like. I think for, $82 or something like that, it's a great value. Better, you get the Pagani is over 100, I believe, or right at 100 maybe. And it has all the same specs. So yeah, I don't think this is a bad value at all. It could be done better, but obviously it's not. You can't get all the combinations that you can get with Pagani that you can with the Bliger. So I think they've got part of the market where if you want something kind of crazy and kind of out there, you can get it with Bliger, and you can't get that with Pagani design. So after all this, if you are interested in purchasing one of these things, I'm going to be leaving a link down here to the official Bliger store. That is an affiliate link. Thank you guys so much for using my affiliate links. Really appreciate it. I was able to pick this one up out of the affiliate earnings. So thank you guys again for using my links. Hopefully I can get this out in time for the sale. I believe it's 70, I'm looking at it right now, $73.60 on sale. And you can probably get it down even below that. So yeah, go pick one of these up. If you want to see more pictures of this thing, I'll be leaving my Instagram down below. Go check that out. And if you guys enjoyed the video, found it useful or found it helpful, leave me a thumbs up. It's really helping out. Subscribe if you guys haven't. If you guys want to leave a question or comment down below, please do so, and I'll be sure to get back to you. I've had quite a few of these Chinese GMTs in my hands, so yeah, I can tell you what I like and what I don't like about certain ones. And yeah, overall, I think this is pretty good offering, right on par with pretty much everybody else. They all have their pluses and minuses. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.